Greetings, this is Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I have drifted into the underworld. The Star Wars underworld. I have a bad feeling about this.
Here we go. We must go to the lower levels. The underworld.
You've taken your first step into a larger world.
You're after something.
Ben.
Since I've started the underworld, I've met so many great friends.
Chris.
I grew up in the 1990s, and mall packaging is nostalgic for me.
Dominic.
What I love most about Star Wars is that it's fun and it's all-round good times.
So, this is where the fun begins.
May the Force be with us.
This thing really moves!
Whoa! I like this!
I can't believe you came all this way to see me.
What's up, Star Wars fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Star Wars Underworld podcast. We are your source for the latest breaking Star Wars news and discussion each and every week. And this week, we're breaking down all the new trailers released at D23. We've got Tales of the Jedi, we've got Mandalorian Season 3, we've got Andor, and more. Plus, if we happen to have the time after all that, and I'm going to make sure we do because I'm really excited about this, actually. We'll discuss even more casting news for The Acolyte. All that and much more on this episode. My name is Chris, and joining me is my good friend, Mr. Dominic Jones.
Hello, Chris. Hello, Ben. Hello, everybody. Oh, hello, Hannah. Sorry. I'm still getting used to that.
you.
I'm still getting used to that. You're still getting used to that. I've been away. I've been away. Excuse me.
That's true. That is
been
true.
Also, it's been like 10 years of the other thing, and now I've had like 6 weeks of this
true.
new one, so
Okay,
I
all right.
gotta
I'll give you,
balance
like,
that.
leeway.
That I just sort of fell into old habits there. But I do want to say, Chris, if you weren't going to make sure we got to the Acolyte casting news, I was going to make sure we got to the Acolyte casting news.
Who said if we had time? Was that you, Ben?
Ben, you can blame.
Who said that?
Look, I know how these things go, okay? I wasn't going to commit to anything besides the trailers, okay? Because I know when trailers happen, they take time, okay?
Double down.
I don't want to promise things to the audience when they may not get them, okay?
I like this. I actually don't know this casting news because I've been off the grid and like sailing for a bit and everything. And
like literally.
Literally. So I don't know actually what it is. I'm just excited about it, and that's why I want us to get to it so I know what it is because I can't wait till.
Look, I always make time for the Good Place cast, and if I can make time for the Good Place cast talking about being in Star Wars, I'm all in.
Here's the thing: if I really like this, I'm going to make an Acolyte T-shirt that I'm just going to wear, and it's just going to say the Acolyte on it, and then that's going to become the logo because I'm just going to make it a thing.
I mean, the show has a logo.
Oh right,
it does.
I'm gonna print that on a shirt.
You were so disappointed there. You're like, oh, I don't get to make up a logo.
I was trying to remember if that was official or not. You're right, it is official.
So
it
is official.
Like Andor, it could get revamped like a couple months
maybe.
into. No, what happened to that?
I'm going to make Acolyte merch if I think this casting news is good.
It's excellent casting news. I'm very excited for it. I'm very excited for it. But first, I'm looking forward to talking about all these trailers from D23, or as I think I can call it, Celebration 2.0, because they just showed us the same things they showed us at Celebration
that everybody could see. The celebration that everybody could see.
Yeah, it was Celebration on repeat. So, but I'm excited that we finally can like actually look at these trailers that we've had like vaguely in our minds since May, trying to remember the details. Now we can actually go through and pick them out. So it's going to be a great show.
Heck yes. Also joining us, it's Ben Hart, the Star Wars guy.
How's it going, everybody? Yeah, finally. In fact, I don't want to be that guy, but some of the trailers I actually liked better at Celebration. Not just because they were because some of the editing is different. Like especially the Mandalorian Season 3 trailer is a bit different. I like the editing better in this one. I know, like I was there, I saw it, but it is they're a bit different. So we'll get into that. We'll get into that later. I don't want to be that guy.
Ben's like, I don't want to be that guy, but I will be. I got that.
I will be.
Okay, sorry.
Someone has to be.
Someone has to be. Also joining us, Hannah, the Raeside.
Hello there. It is good to be here. I have totally forgotten like everything of these trailers. Like saw them all at Celebration, totally forgotten. So when they came out again, even though they're like, yeah, it's like, oh, they kind of just released everything that they did at Celebration. I was like, what? Oh my God, this happens? We go to Mandalore? I was like, I experienced it all over again because I totally forgotten everything that had happened. So it was a thrilling D23 from just the internet standpoint, I think. And I think it got a lot of people excited for all these different types of shows we'll get into. So I think that's a positive for Star Wars. There was a lot of positive chatter online, which is always a good thing for the Star Wars universe. But yeah, can't wait to get into it.
Yeah, it was sort of funny to look at the reaction, right? Because I was there, and I was there with people who were at Celebration. So we came away from that panel kind of going like, oh, we didn't really get anything new. And then I looked at the internet and went, oh, right, most people haven't seen these things. So this is actually a lot of new stuff. So it's really exciting. But like I was sitting there, watching the Marvel section of the presentation going like, oh, yeah, look at all this new stuff. Why didn't they do that? And then I remembered, again, it's new to most people what we're seeing. So, it's a little weird to just sort of like show a trailer in May and then wait until September to show it to the rest of the world. I'm not quite sure I understand the logic
Lucasfilm
there.
marketing is still like just bewildering.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Well, so I had a revelation at D23. And I think I finally understand what people mean when they say we want a Kevin Feige of Star Wars, or we want Kevin Feige to take over Star Wars. It has nothing to do with the actual production of the movies. Because, and look, make no mistake, Kevin Feige is one of, if not the most successful producers in Hollywood right now. He's tremendously talented at his job. Marvel is incredibly lucky to have him, and any franchise would be lucky to have him. But I don't think it actually has anything to do with the quality of the movies that he's producing. It's that he makes the waits in between the movies fun. He shows up at these events, and we got to basically do a Lucasfilm panel and a Marvel panel back to back at D23. And you compared the way Lucasfilm went about things to the way Marvel went about things. Lucasfilm was like, we don't want to show you anything, but we'll show you a little bit. Marvel was like, we want to show you everything, but we're going to hold back. It was like, it feels like with Lucasfilm, you're like pulling teeth to get anything. Whereas Marvel's like, we have to restrain ourselves, but this, what we've got is really, really cool. And what I think Feige does so well is he manages to walk that tightrope of, I'm going to show you something cool. I know this is cool. I know you want to see more. I do actually want to show you more, but I also would rather you see this stuff in a movie theater properly, or just in a movie form on your phone even. And so he's got that perfect balance of making it so that he shows you just enough that you feel like you're having fun and you feel like you're seeing something special without giving too much away. And with Star Wars, I keep going back to this. They internalized what everybody said before The Force Awakens, which was, we want to go into this movie as if we'd never seen a trailer. We don't want to know anything. We want to be totally surprised. And therefore, you wind up doing things like, here's a random picture from Ahsoka, and that's all we're going to tell you about this show that's coming out next year. Whereas Marvel's like, oh, yeah, the Ant-Man movie that comes out around the same time next year, here's a whole freaking little trailer for you. Oh,
here's 20 minutes.
Yeah, basically.
Well, like after during the pandemic, when we started having all those movies come out that were announced at the D23 before the pandemic.
Yeah,
I felt like a deja vu for like a whole year, because I'm like, wait, Onward, didn't we see 20 minutes of Onward?
Yeah,
like I've seen this before. I know I've seen this before.
So I just and everything that he did, he does such a good job, and. In terms of selling these things to people. And I don't mean to take away from what Kathleen Kennedy or anybody else is doing at Lucasfilm or any other movie studio from a development, production, release standpoint, but that dude, and then the whole team at Marvel, from the head down, from the top down, they've found that perfect tightrope, and I think Star Wars needs to open up just a little bit more. Now, granted, we got 3 trailers to talk about. Yes. And they're pretty sweet trailers. We'll get into them. But But I think that's what people mean when they say they want Kevin Feige in Star Wars. It really has nothing to do with is he a good producer or not. He is, objectively. I hate that word, but I'll use it for him. But I think he's a showman as much as he's a producer, and that's something you don't always see. And that's one of the things that makes Marvel stand out. Yeah. End of point. Let's hit some plugs.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. We're doing a show.
That's the intro.
Yeah.
I forgot. I just beyond that.
I just had some thoughts I wanted to get out there.
Yeah. Get it off your chest.
Yeah.
That's good.
All that was I wanted to praise that guy because he is. I think he's incredible.
Heck yeah. So
he's fantastic. Like the Fantastic Four.
The only Fantastic
Marvel.
Four.
It's like, wow, you said that with such like
the only
purpose. Like,
it's not, that's the low bar to exceed. Yes. All right. If you like this awesome commentary on Kevin Feige, hit the subscribe button for more awesome commentary about Kevin Feige.
We're renaming the show. It's the Kevin Feige Underworld.
We talk about Kevin Feige every week.
Doesn't sound very good.
We break it down. So make sure you subscribe and make sure you super chat with us so that we can give your comments a little bit more focus in the show, and it helps buy some more pancakes for our parties. That's literally what it goes to. I'm not joking. And then you can also become a channel member to those same ends if you don't want to talk, or if you want to talk a lot with a special badge. That's how that works.
Exactly.
Over at patreon.com/the SWU, you get to hear our arguments about Rings of Power and whether or not classic Lord of the Rings characters are being backdoored into the show or not.
Gandalf. I swear to you, it's Gandalf.
It's not. It can't be. But you can listen to our debate and decide for yourself over at patreon.com/the SWU. And also you can get our merch there, but not Acolyte merch because that's copyrighted and we're not allowed to sell that. Yeah. That's just for me. I'm going to make that for me for personal use. I'm not selling it. Lucasfilm, I'm not selling it.
There you go.
Cease and desist me over making a shirt for myself. Or just sell me one. I'll buy one for $25 if you make one right now.
Yeah, why isn't there? There should be Acolyte merch. Although, actually, I know the reason why there isn't Acolyte merch. It's because there is Star Wars Detours merch out in the wild that you can find that was sold at one point.
Oh, I need that.
The show does not exist.
Oh,
that's incredible.
That's
with
amazing.
Lucasfilm's recent history in productions and non-productions, I could see the pitfalls of that. People walking around with the Rangers and the New Republic shirts, or you know.
I've got my Rogue Squadron bathrobe, so it's all out there.
Wow. Fantastic. Patreon.com/the SWU. Once they start offering bathrobes, I promise we will make a Star Wars Underworld bathrobe.
Yes.
But they have to add it to their store
It will have Ben's face.
What? Like everywhere? Like that new style where the face is just
for the record, if this exists, I will quit the podcast, okay? That will be my last one. That will be the last podcast.
Because you want to be in your
nice... allow that.
Because you'll be wanting to be in your bathrobe the whole time. Instead of podcasting.
In Hart versus the Underworld. Get my face off that bathrobe.
Hart versus the Underworld.
Oh man, Scott Pilgrim ever needed.
I know how. See, that's what scares me is the fact that it's out there now. Like I know how jokes work. One day we just started joking about IHOP, and next thing you know, we're doing a show on IHOP. The inside jokes are powerful.
Someone is going to show up to IHOP London when we, transport the whole IHOP across the sea. And they're just going to show up with a bathrobe for you. And it's just going to be your face all over. And they're just going to hand it to you. And you're going to have to put it on camera in the middle of the show. While you drink your British tea.
Last show.
Go out in style.
Yeah, literally.
That's the catchphrase to sell it. That's it. Go out in style.
Swear to God, I have to walk around London in a stupid bathrobe with a top hat with my face on it. I'm going to lose it.
Ben Hart, the bathrobe guy.
Oh man. Okay.
What talking about?
Patreon.com/the SWU.
This is a little taste of what the Patreon pre-show is.
Dude, it
It's more
feels like
like
we're in the
the-
pre-show right now. Oh, man.
Yeah. Just to answer Andy's question in the chat, yes, that will be our giveaway at the
Yes.
at the
Yes.
at the B-Hop party, the
Oh.
British House of Pancake.
We all have a bathrobe with a blue milk in one hand and a death stick in the other hand, and we'll just walk around London with monocles.
Oh,
That's
wow.
what we're gonna do.
Wow, that's the
Perfection.
dream.
So y'all better
That is-
come.
That is the tree.
No missing this.
Ben's like, I'm not going to London
I
anymore.
know-
I've decided.
I know you all have puffer pig jars that you're gonna smash to go to the Galactic Star Cruiser. Use that money instead to go to London for our
Yeah.
bathrobe party.
Boy, mate, where'd you get that bathrobe,
Our
mate?
bathrobe party. That doesn't sound. No. That doesn't sound good.
It's too late here. I'm used to
No.
doing the
Steel
show
is
late
being
earlier in
burst
the
all the
night.
time.
No.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So Andor.
Email us, SW
Coming out.
Underworld, and also join our Discord. We have a Discord. I don't know where the link is to the Discord, but it's somewhere. Ben has it.
I put one up and then it expires after a week, so I'm having trouble with that.
Bug Ben on social media for at
Yeah, just
Ben
literally
Hart with
just
no
tag
E.
me and go, give me a
Yeah.
link. I've had people doing that like
Yeah.
constantly. Like, give me a link.
Yep. And
If
then
it works.
also check out all the other shows on the Star Wars Underworld Network. Now I think we have 10 shows. I don't know. We keep adding one every week, so I don't know how many there are,
Yeah,
but there's a lot.
Pretty much.
So check it out. A lot of things are happening on the Star Wars Underworld channel outside of our show. So make sure you keep track of things happening on Monday. Lots of fun stuff happening Monday every day. So every Monday, not every day.
Every
Lots of
day.
things
every
happening
week.
on Monday every
Yeah.
day.
Every week. So check that out. Star Wars
60%
Underworld
of the
Network.
time, it works every time. Okay.
Now, the news.
Good evening. Welcome to the news. All right, let's talk. Shut up. No more. No more.
I'm good.
No more.
Oh, wow. Why are we so
We're-
excitable this week?
Because we have 3
Tired.
trailers to talk about and we don't know what to do.
Yes, yeah,
we're starting
right.
with Andor. We're going in what we're seeing, the order of what we're seeing first. So we're starting with
Yes.
Andor. We got a new trailer that dropped at D23. Of course, as we record this now, there is a launch event happening in Los Angeles for the series, not to be confused with the premiere. Apparently, these are different things, but it's happening now. The cast is there. I believe they're showing the first 3 episodes, which will, of course, premiere in less than a week's time on Disney Plus. But we got this new trailer, and let's go around, give some initial impressions, reactions to the trailer. And Ben, as always, throwing it to you first. What'd you think of the new Andor trailer?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I mean, it's like my hype level for Andor like can't really get any higher at this point. We've seen so many trailers. There's a TV spot or a featurette or something popping out just about every day. But this is a really great trailer. A lot of old footage from previous trailers, but a lot of new footage too that I think was really great to see. It just enhances just the whole thing. I think it's really it's nice to get more action, get more dialogue, and see where this is all going. So I really did enjoy this trailer. I love the there's a great shot of the clone troopers kind of things. We're seeing like a lot of practical clone troopers, which is something I was not expecting from this show, but here we are.
This is just correct me if I'm wrong, Ben. This is just the second time we've seen practical clone troopers, right? Because they were all digital in the prequels, and then didn't they make some for Kenobi?
So I think the first time, correct me if I'm wrong here, the first time we ever saw practical clone troopers was in the Book of Boba Fett.
Oh,
That
right.
one flashback scene with Grogu. That was pretty significant. And then we've got some in Obi-Wan, and then we're gonna get a lot. I'm assuming they're probably using like the same, like all these shows will be made around the same time, so probably a lot of the same actors and same.
Well, probably not for this
people.
show because this one was made in London, whereas the other 2 were in California.
Okay, true. And also, all the ones in Obi-Wan were like blue. They're like 501st. Whereas these are all white and all Imperial white. Still just great to see. I'm just like seeing a bunch of clone troopers. It's very weird after all this time. I am used to the digital clones, either in CGI in a live action movie or CGI in an animated form. I'm not used to seeing them live action in a live action movie or live action TV show. It's just crazy. But yeah, I'm hoping that's going to play a significant part in the story, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Hannah, what about you? What did you think of the trailer?
Which one? I mean that in a good way, because I feel like we've gotten so many clips and snippets of Andor, and I'm really impressed with how they marketed this so far, the show, because I feel like we've seen a whole bunch, but like we said, Ben, you said we've seen a lot of footage in this trailer, but there's also some really cool new stuff. And I was going to point out the exact same thing as well, that the idea of seeing clone troopers is really fascinating to me, and I hope that means we could get a Tim Morrison little cameo moment as well. Of course,
at the
his
very
little
least
cameo
a vocal
Obi-Wan.
cameo.
Yeah. Even that would be really. I think that would just fit really nicely and feel good. It'll just be
good
satisfying, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah, his voice
nice.
saying that. Oh, that would be insane. But very, very excited. I think again, I'm pretty impressed with how cinematic this show is looking to be, and I think it's already showing just from the trailers. It's already showing the fact that they didn't depend on the volume to make their environments and everything, and they used all practical sets and locations. I think that's showing to be really important, to kind of showing that this show is quite a big scale and it's quite vast in the galaxy, and it feels like that just from the trailers. So I hope the show really does feel like that once we're into the episodes of feeling really big, because the trailers do feel quite big to me, quite cinematic. But very excited. Really impressed with this trailer. It's really good.
Yeah, I think now there's only so much new stuff that we're getting, because we've already gotten so much. So there weren't any really big shocking reveals, and I don't expect there to be. We're 1 week out from the premiere at this point. Less than that now, just a matter of days. So exciting. But I think the only thing really that is really helpful to keep having these continued trailers and reveals is to get a kind of feel of what the balance is of the show is going to be when it comes to just the different characters and factions. And the thing that we keep seeing is we keep seeing different Imperials, different types of troopers and officers. We keep seeing more and more Mon Mothma, which is really exciting. So I really getting this continued idea that this isn't just going to follow Cassian specifically, but there's all going to be these other plots going on inside the Empire and inside the Galactic Senate. And that's really, really exciting. And I don't know if it was new or not, but again, the shot of that looks like it's on Camino as well was interesting.
They're walking through the white.
I
think that's
they all got those jumpsuits.
That looks like Camino. I don't know why.
It does. It's got kind of a similar vibe. I thought the same thing as well. Yeah.
So we'll see. But it's just really cool that they're bringing all these elements together. It like you were saying, Hannah, it just feels like the scale of the show is really big, not just when it comes to the sets themselves and the scenes, but also just how much of the galaxy is being covered by this show, which is exciting, kind of the opposite of what we initially expected, which was a character-based story. Because the first thing we heard was, well, they built a set and then they're filming the show on the set, and they're filming two seasons of the show on the same set. That is the first thing that we heard about Andor production outside of the casting. So I always had this idea of, well, it's going to be kind of like Cheers. They're just always going to be in the bar. They're always going to be in the cantina. It's like Lothal and Rebels. I thought they keep coming back to the same spot. But it really, from the trailers, you don't get that idea at all. There's just all these different planets and things going on and characters. Right. So that's really exciting.
Yeah, Tony Gilroy said something really interesting a couple of weeks ago where he said, we're going to get to know these characters in a way that we never really have in Star Wars. We're going to, we're going to see, the Imperials in their home lives. We're going to get to know what they really think, what they're really like is when they take that uniform off. How much of a true believer are they in this cause? And as the trailers have gone on, the cast has sort of expanded, right? Like the first couple of trailers were really Cassian, they were Mon Mothma, they were Stellan Skarsgård, and that was kind of it. We saw kind of quick glimpses at everybody else, but now we're starting to see, Kyle Soller in there, Adria Arjona, Denise Go, all of them, they're starting to show up more and more in these trailers, and you're starting to get a sense of, again, just to piggyback on the point that you guys are making, how big in scope this show is going to be. It's not just it's not just the sets, it's not just the world, but just the cast as well. Just to add on to that we're going to really get to know a range of characters and what their lives are like, and we've seen little hints that we're going to see this world, we're going to see kind of a different side to the Star Wars galaxy in the trailers. The stuff in the previous ones with Stellan Skarsgård, and how he's kind of walking the tightrope between being a rebel on the front line and being somebody in the Senate. And at one point somebody says to him, like, you're going to get caught if you're not more careful. In this trailer, you have somebody kind of saying something similar to Mon Mothma. Like there's a lot going on in here that, even though they've been really sort of cautious in the rollout of this stuff, like this trailer, I feel like is at least 50% stuff we've seen before, if not more.
Oh, more than that. Yeah.
Like there's a handful of new shots, and like you've pointed out, there's nothing jaw-dropping, groundbreaking. But again, it's just sort of getting us ready for, I think, a show that's going to be, that sort of slower burn, very expansive, but also highly focused on these characters in a really interesting way. And again, Tony Gilroy said there's not a ton of legacy cameos, and I think these trailers are kind of hinting at that, right? Like you think about the Obi-Wan trailers, those, even though they all kind of ended the same way, which was a tease at Darth Vader, which is like, could you not have shown him? We know what Darth Vader looks like. He looks the same.
That's true.
He's one of the most iconic characters in cinema history. Like, come on. But it kind of alluded to this, this idea that this is very much focused on the world, and there's going to be reveals and connections from that. This, Saw Gerrera's in there, Mon Mothma's in there, Cassian's in there, obviously. But, we're going to be kind of focusing on them outside of their connections to Anakin, Jyn Erso, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, Princess Leia, Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, the main characters of the saga, which I think is going to be really interesting and really exciting as we go through the first 12 episodes of the show. And then as we zip through the next 12 episodes, which are going to cover 4 times as much time in universe. Still a very interesting decision to make.
Yeah.
Any other sort of standout moments or standout shots in this trailer for anybody?
I don't know if it was new again. It's tough for me to talk about this because I now am in this headspace where I'm just like, okay, did we see this before or not, or am I just noticing it for the first time? So one shot that I just thought was cool was flying over the crop fields.
Yes.
Because that's something that the agrarian side of Star Wars isn't really talked about much. And that goes really back to A New Hope, where there was that line about dusting crops in A New Hope. And so, Luke is supposed to be like a farm boy. Yeah. And yet you don't really see any of the actual farming in Star Wars. So I thought that was very cool. And it kind of reminded me of Blade Runner 2049 because there's like a lot of farming in the beginning of that movie. It's where it starts out in the farms. So I thought it's cool to see farming in a sci-fi futuristic type environment. It's interesting. That's something you see often.
Yeah, it's cool. I think with Star Wars, it seems like you either get like, huge cityscapes or like industrial stuff, or you get like huge like landscapes of like nature. Greenery. I like the idea of kind of mixing the two. And like I remember there's a shot, I think it's the last episode of Mandalorian season 2, where they're like going to this planet, but there's like this, it's kind of wide open planet, but there's like these giant smokestacks where they go to meet Boba and Din go to meet Casca and Bo-Katan. Oh yeah. And I thought that was a striking image of like, this is like, this people work here. This stuff happens here. This is just a barren planet. Stuff's happening here. Same way with this. It's like this is farmland. This people live here. They're working off the land, whatever else. That's really cool idea. The whole idea of Star Wars, everything has a purpose. It's used universe. It's that whole tenet of, everything has a purpose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I feel like you can see that in the trailer and all these shots. You can really feel this universe in an exciting way. All right. Again, Andor is so close. There's almost nothing more that can be said about it until we see those 3 episodes.
And also, I mean, it should also be said that we're unfortunately about a week away from this, coming less than a week away, about 6 days as of now. People are watching it.
I know, yeah.
So unfortunately, there's going to be spoilers.
So
even though I think the people in that theater probably mean well. Stuff's going to get out. And so watch yourself if you don't want to get spoiled. How I guess they're probably seeing the first 3 episodes tonight. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what they are. Yeah.
Okay.
That being said, I feel like Andor is probably the first Star Wars show that at least maybe in the first episode there won't be any spoilers.
Yeah, it feels a little spoiler proof. Like you can't you look at Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? If that show had a premiere a week beforehand, I mean, if you wanted to know that Princess Leia was in it, you knew Princess Leia was in it many months in advance. But if it had if Celebration had been a week before it actually premiered and they did that event, I mean, the world would have known. The world would have known. It would have been talked about immediately coming out of there. Same with a lot of the stuff in Mando and Book of Boba as well. So Andor, but Andor again, because we know how it ends, and we know, and they've said that it's less about the cameos.
Yeah, they've really dampened that. Saying there's no big wigs coming in here. It's just that's not a direct quote, but I think your point there, Dom, is like it's really kind I'm losing
like
all my words now.
It's like insulated.
Yeah,
spoiler-proof.
It's like you can't spoiler proof. There we go. Thank you.
Unless they, it's like, oh, I can't believe they killed off Cassian 5 minutes into the show, and the rest of the show is after he actually centered around his twin brother Dacian Andor. Wow.
Dantooine, not Tatooine. Dantooine.
I was about to say that's as good as Dantooine and Mantooine.
So it totally fits in Star Wars. What you're saying?
Oh yeah.
There we go. All right. Andor, less than a week away. Cannot wait. So we'll go from less than a week away to just over a month away. On October 26th, Tales of the Jedi premieres all 6 episodes on Disney Plus, which the 26th is a Wednesday. So that means on that Wednesday, we will have a new episode of Andor and 6 new episodes of Tales of the Jedi.
Dang.
So if you have the opportunity to take the day off, would recommend it.
Yeah.
Would recommend it. But it's kind of, as we suspected, Tales of the Jedi kind of getting the Star Wars Visions treatment of here are all the episodes at once. We got this new trailer for Tales of the Jedi. Again, we'll go around the table, get some initial impressions. And Hannah, this time you're going to start us off. We're going to give Ben a break. What did you think of the Tales of the Jedi trailer?
Well, like I said in the intro, I had a similar experience with this trailer because I forgot all these things that happened in this show and in this trailer. But once I saw it all, I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. This is going to be really, really amazing. This show is such a perfect little creative love child straight from Dave Filoni's head. And I think it's just going to be so interesting. And I love the stories that they've chosen. Obviously we kind of got the Count Dooku and the young Qui-Gon journey story arc there, and then we've also got the young Ahsoka arc, which I think are 2 very popular characters. Count Dooku and Qui-Gon both being quite interesting, and also Ahsoka being very revered. So yeah, I think this trailer was really, really cool. I think for, a little animated shorts of Star Wars, you probably wouldn't think they've put so much time into making a trailer, but this trailer was really, really epic, and it got so many people excited about it, and so many people that didn't really think about this being on the radar or coming out anytime soon. I think a lot of people was like, oh, geez, this actually looks really cool, kind of thing. A good reaction to it, which
exists.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh my god, yeah. I think it was such a great trailer, like really, really good trailer. I had a good like couple of rewatches of that because it was looking mighty fine. But yeah, that's my take. All positive on that.
A mighty fine trailer indeed. Chris, what about you? Your thoughts on this one?
So this was the trailer they showed at Celebration, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I think I was with you, Chris. I think we were sitting together when we watched this.
Yeah, we were all there. We were all there. I think Jordan was there, and Matthew,
we were like
and Jesse,
and then you guys were like
we
downstairs.
assembled the team for this one.
Yeah. So, just to reiterate my thoughts from before, I guess, it looks amazing. I think it's great that they chose the stories. I think all the stories that they've chosen to tell are all really important, good stories. So I don't think they're wasting any screen time with the characters and stories that they have. And obviously, just in general, the idea for the show is really brilliant. I mean, it's something that I personally have been asking them to do for a while. So I'm not going to say they did it because of me, but I do know I have been asking for this specifically for this show ever since 2014 or so. Like it's been about 7-8 years.
About asking them.
Oh, well, you know what? I just talk in this podcast and I assume they listen.
Okay.
Kathleen
that's fair.
We very often
is listening on our drive.
We very often implore them to do things on our show from our armchairs that we're in.
It's a proven fact that Kathleen Kennedy has never been seen outdoors doing anything at 9 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays. So we know she's
once she was photographed outdoors and she had AirPods in her ears, so
dun.
She kept peeking at a phone, looking at something. But I've been asking for this for years because like the thing that was amazing about the Clone Wars was it was an anthology and it allowed them to tell all these different stories with all these different characters. And so, if something went a little off the rails, it would be back on the rails the next week. And so everybody found something to love about that show, it seemed. And I think so it's great to extend that idea beyond just the Clone Wars and to just have all of Star Wars. And this seems to be pretty tight around Ahsoka and the characters from the Clone Wars. It doesn't seem that it's branching too far out of that yet. But I assume, if we get Tales of the Jedi season 2 or 3, maybe we might have some sequel stuff. Because here's the thing. If what would happen to Star Wars fandom? And I'm talking about real Star Wars fandom, not those people who say they like Star Wars and then hate on it online all day. Real Star Wars fandom. If we got Finn and Rey and Poe in Clone Wars animation, everybody would flip. Everybody was so excited. It would be like the best thing ever.
We'd be like, it's not as good as the Lego specials.
Yes, not quite as good as the Lego specials, but just close enough. And so, and I feel like this opens the door for that. This opens the door. This is the way, if we're going to see that, it's probably going to be through something like this, A Tales of the Jedi. And who's a Jedi? Finn. That's right. You heard me, Kathleen Kennedy. Finn, Jedi. And so, listen to the Lego people. So, yes, I think this is great. It looks great. Everything looks amazing. I mean, I can't really expound on it anymore because it would just me going through it shot by shot saying, Dooku looks amazing. Qui-Gon looks amazing. Those clone troopers it just all looks great.
Yeah, for sure. Ben, over to you.
Yeah. So, I mean, coming out of Celebration, this trailer and this panel that we saw was one of the things that I was the most jazzed about. It helped that like they didn't release any of it to the public.
That's how we walked out. That's how we walked out of it. Well, that guy was really good. What
Jazz hands.
You see that, you see that Tales of the Jedi? God.
I mean, to be fair, this is how you applaud in sign. So
Yeah,
makes perfect sense.
Okay, there you go.
So like it helped that like I was was one of the only people on the planet who had seen the trailer. And everyone they talked to that hadn't been in the trailer, like, what's Tales of the Jedi? I'm like, oh, let me tell you. I would just like, just word vomit for 20 minutes telling them all about Tales of the Jedi. Now that's out in the public, I'm even more like jazzed about it. Because it's just like I'm with Chris. Like, it's an amazing idea. It's something that I think my only disappointment with this show is just like the scope of it, of like having 6 episodes, 3 about Ahsoka, 3 about Count Dooku. That's great. I hope they do more of this. I want to see more characters done. I want to see young Ben Solo at the Jedi Academy. I want to see Darth Bane and whoever else, Exar Kun, whatever else they can do in the Old Republic. Like, I want to see all this. I want to see them do everything. But this is a good start. And this trailer is just amazing. I mean, all the visuals that you get in regards to not just, obviously, huge nostalgia for like seeing Ahsoka back, seeing Obi-Wan, seeing Dooku, but also seeing these kind of new versions, these characters going back in time, seeing Dooku with a blue lightsaber, which is just weird.
Oh yeah,
young Qui-Gon, which is, as you said, Hannah, like Qui-Gon is such a beloved character, and now we're living in the Qui-Gon-essence, maybe, if you will. We got old Qui-Gon Force Ghost a few months ago, and now we're getting young Qui-Gon, and Liam Neeson still at it playing him. So there's a lot of good stuff, and there's a lot to, after actually getting to watch the trailer properly, not in potato quality repeatedly. It's great to see. They're like, oh, Ahsoka is at Padme's funeral? What?
Oh, yeah.
And then there's other stuff. And there's a lot in here that I'm like, okay, who's in the casket? Whose funeral is this? What's going on? I'm very intrigued.
Yeah. The fact that it's only 3 episodes of each, like, I'm looking at this trailer trying to figure out what is each story.
Right.
And the one that I can't figure out, the shot that I can't figure out is Padme's funeral. Like, because we know what the first episode is. We've all seen the first episode. It's Baby Ahsoka. That's the first episode, or at least that is one episode. And then there's like Ahsoka training, and then there's Ahsoka fighting an Inquisitor, which I have to assume is post Clone Wars, and the training stuff feels early in Clone Wars, and I'm like,
right.
Padme's funeral is kind of between those two things. Where is that gonna fit in? So I'm really intrigued to see how all of that comes together.
We're gonna have some canon qualms, if you will, in the near future with this. I think Filoni's Filoni destroying the canon, all that kind of stuff. We're bringing back those old wounds. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna completely match up with some of the books that have come out. But oops. I think we're going to get some interesting stuff immediately post Clone Wars with Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Because some of the shots I saw, she was wearing the like the not overalls, but it was like that one-piece suit thing she wore. The Mortez sister arc.
Yeah, you're right. It's like that, the coverall, blue coverall.
Yeah, it's like a mechanic's like outfit. Yeah. She's wearing that in season 7, and she's wearing that in a couple shots in the trailer. And I'm like, oh, wait. Oh? So, I don't know. Yeah,
how does
timeline
this
is
all
weird.
fit together?
There was something in there that made me think that something was after Order 66. I can't remember what it was.
Oh, there's definitely post Order 66. I mean, there's Padme's funeral, there's the Inquisitor, there's all of that stuff.
Yeah, that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But although speaking of Order 66, something that I've seen pointed out is that in the trailer, you see Ahsoka training against clone troopers. Anakin's teaching her.
Yeah.
And she does the same move that she does in one of the last Clone Wars episodes during one of the Order 66 sequences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, specifically, I think it's the move that she does when she's on top of the table and they're all shooting at her from around. Yeah. She like does the twirl move. It's basically the same thing.
We're all so obsessed with Ahsoka. This is so great. Look at us. That's the same overalls she was wearing in the other thing.
Just think, 10 years ago, everybody hates Ahsoka. Nobody likes that character.
Right.
I barely remember that.
Right.
Yeah. Here's something extremely, like, potentially irrelevant about the show that I'm very interested in. Is what order are the episodes going to come out in? Like, is it going to be 3 episodes? Like when you go to watch it on Disney Plus, because obviously they're all coming out at the same time. Is it going to be 3 episodes of Ahsoka, and then 3 episodes of Dooku? Or is it going to be like 1 Ahsoka, 1 Dooku, 1 Ahsoka, 1 Dooku, 1 Ahsoka, 1 Dooku? Because I've been thinking about this because I was sort of wondering why those 2 characters. I mean, obviously Ahsoka is, Dave Filoni's favorite, and so his first season of the show is obviously going to focus on Ahsoka. And Dooku is a very fascinating character and one that we've always wanted to know more about. So in a sense, like it makes sense if the reason is just Dave sitting around going, I like Ahsoka, I like Dooku, I want to do a show about them. Okay. That's certainly a plausible, realistic explanation. But Dave is the kind of guy who there's a reason for everything that he does. And he very rarely does stuff just for the hell of it. Sometimes he does, but usually there's a reason for it. And I was thinking about Ahsoka's story and I was thinking about Dooku's story. Here are 2 people that, grew up as Jedi, lived their entire lives as Jedi, and then walked away from the Jedi Order. And so their lives run relatively parallel with each other until they reach that point, and then they divert. And it might be interesting to, because initially I just assumed we'd go 3 Ahsoka, 3 Dooku, but it might be interesting to bounce between the 2 of them and be like, here's a young Ahsoka story, here's a young Dooku story, here's a sort of younger teenage, young adult Ahsoka story. Here's Dooku in a similar time period. And then, here's a post-Order 66 Ahsoka story. What about a post-leaving the Jedi Order Dooku story? One of the first times he meets Sidious, or one of the first times he works with Sidious, or his actual, manipulation and turn to the dark side. I think that, there's such an interesting comparison and such an interesting parallel between those 2 characters that hasn't really been explored before because they don't have much of a relationship between each other. But that could be really rich for, making a statement about the Jedi. This is Tales of the Jedi. It's not Tales of the Ahsoka and Count Dooku. And so I wonder if there might be something to that.
That's a great idea. I love it.
You go, Ben.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think if, considering that connection, if Clone Wars had continued, Dooku and Ahsoka crossing paths would have been very interesting. Considering that,
did they?
I always like that.
Did they?
I mean,
yeah. Did they ever meet?
I don't think they ever met. Did they?
Yeah,
I don't believe so.
So, I like the idea of you have the Lost 20, and I always like the idea of basically by Revenge of the Sith, it's the Lost 21. But I think the High Republic changed it, that it was only Masters were considered part of the Lost.
The Legends has been mucking around with that for years because they started telling stories about Jedi leaving the Order before that was established and needed to come
It is
up
a
with
pretty small
workaround.
number of Jedi for an organization that's been around for millennia. But I like to think there's a statue of Ahsoka in the halls of the Jedi library when Anakin goes in and does his rampage.
Oh, maybe they just didn't have or they just didn't have time to carve one. Somebody was supposed to get started that morning, and then what's going on in the library?
Oh wow! I have a pitch for. Sorry, Chris. I just thought with season 2 of Tales of the Jedi, which I hope there is. Similar thing. They focus on 2 characters. Quinlan Vos and Asajj Ventress.
Yes, please.
And please. I haven't read Dark Disciple, but I know that's a cult favorite of Star Wars fans, and discussion of canon or not making it canon to get this thing happening and all those kinds of things. But I think Tales of the Jedi can kind of maybe really continue to go on to kind of explore the Force. And I think the best way to explore the Force or the Jedi is like showing it through different people's experiences and people from different walks of life and their experience with the Force, like Count Dooku's and Ahsoka's. And I think the same thing with, you know, Quinlan Vos is very famous for being so rogue and random, and you know, he's very juxtaposing to a character like Obi-Wan. So I think his experience with the Force would be really interesting to keep delving into. Same with Asajj Ventress. I loved her arcs in, was that season 5 or 6, which she's like, you know, you know, she gets, does Count Dooku kick her out because she, you know, she gets extradited from kind of the being an apprentice of the Sith. Yeah.
That moment.
You know, and she kind of goes on a very vulnerable like journey, and it's, you know, these are all Force users, so I think it can really continue. Tales of the Jedi could continue to be a really interesting show, explaining and exploring the Force through these interesting characters and their experiences.
And Quinlan Vos was kind of like the Cutler Quain of the Jedi Order, because in the expanded universe, he had a child, Corto Vos. And it would be really interesting if they brought that back into canon. Corto Vos had a Jedi with a child.
He's cool. He's still alive after Order 66 now. He's alive, okay?
Yeah.
He can do stuff with it. And just going off of your point about Dark Disciple. Dark Disciple is like one of the few Star Wars books I have read twice. I read it, I listened to it.
Wow.
Great. Like, literally the only thing bad about it is like, man, this would have been a great episodes of Clone Wars. Why couldn't they animate this?
Right. Yeah. I remember reading that book when it came out and just being like, oh God, it feels like I'm watching Clone Wars. God, I miss this show so much.
Tales of the Jedi is such a perfect vessel for stuff like this. You don't have to do the whole arc. Just do like snapshots of give me
do a sequel to it.
Give me that balcony scene where it's Quinlan and Ventress against Dooku on like do that.
So I'm very firm in my no adaptations rule. But the exception, the one and only exception I will go along with, or I will endorse, at least at this moment in time, would be a proper animated version of Dark Disciple in the Clone Wars style. I would be here for that. What I will say is I hope that Tales of the Jedi could potentially open the door for more stuff that's animated in the Clone Wars style, beyond the Bad Batch, which I hope continues, and beyond animated shorts. We know there's lots of Clone Wars arcs that are out there that never got finished. I feel like, you know, the Bounty Hunters arc would be a real good one to adapt, especially given everything that went down in the Book of Boba Fett season 1 and how it seemed to allude to stuff in that arc that doesn't exist. You know, that would be cool. There were some other arcs from the Clone Wars that we know about, like the Rex and R2 go try and assassinate Count Dooku storyline and things like that. You know, that could be really fun to do. And then, you know, just write some new, you know, feature length animated movies that could be set in the Rebels timeline, could be set sequel trilogy, post Andor, go back to the High Republic, just, you know, do some one-off stories that could be really, really fun in this format. And the fact that they're, you know, willing to, you know, go beyond just the Bad Batch and have a second show in this style out there gives me some hope that if this is successful, we'll not only see season 2 of Tales of the Jedi, be it about Ahsoka and Dooku or about 2 new characters or 1 new character and Ahsoka, because it's Dave, but we'll also just see some other stories told in this medium. I think it could be really exciting and really interesting.
Absolutely. And I think I have a good feeling that it's gonna surprise people at Disney how popular this is gonna be, this show. You know, maybe they have been a little bit what's the word? Just not putting as much emphasis on the animation or fully realizing the extent and the passion Star Wars animation fans are about, you know, Star Wars animation. So yeah, I really hope this, you know, it does do really well, and I think it will, because a lot of people, I think, you know, more than like the Tales of the Jedi trailer was watched more than the Mando trailer.
Yeah.
Like I think it got more views. So it's like, yeah, I hope this is like a good kind of injection of confidence into making more Bad Batch seasons and putting more stuff into animation. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah, this is something I think we'll talk a little bit more about when we talk about the Bad Batch. But it has felt like the animation has been the second cousin, the afterthought of Star Wars lately. It's just been, look, we spent all year thinking, oh, the Bad Batch is coming out next season. Oh, it's coming out in spring. Oh, it's coming out in the summer. Oh, it's coming out in the fall.
Right?
And now we know it's winter. But I feel like we're at a point, and so I feel like we're at a point where they're sort of like, yeah, we'll throw the Bad Batch, we'll throw the animation in anywhere that it fits. But I think with this series and hopefully Clone Wars and hopefully when Bad Batch comes back, if they continue to deliver and do numbers and be the most watched trailer of the bunch on YouTube, then I get that they have to be flexible with their release schedule, that there's many factors that go into these sorts of things, but you should set release dates for these things and then stick to them, and put them out there because they are things that people want to see and are excited about.
I don't know why they're not releasing this in December. I really don't know why that is. Like, mid-December, massive Bad Batch premiere, put out 3 new Bad Batch Lego sets, get the new Funko Pops of their new outfits, like pump it out, get the gifts for the kids that watch the Bad Batch premiere show. Like, that just escapes me. But it's like a couple weeks after we're getting it, so I can't complain too much.
I look, I mean this in the nicest way possible. I mean this in the most non-toxic way possible. I'm not sure if Lucasfilm knows what synergy is anymore. You just do stuff. You just release stuff, and you might get a figure on this in 2 years, maybe if you're lucky.
You want to know?
Right?
You want to know my conspiracy theory? October 26th, the week that Tales of the Jedi comes out, that's going to be the worst episode of Andor. And they're covering it up with 6 episodes of Tales of the Jedi, so that instead of there being a week of quote-unquote discourse about how bad that episode is, everybody will just be focused on Tales of the Jedi and having a grand time talking about it.
Like Kathleen Kennedy was watching Andor, like doing her screeners, and she's like, yeah, people online are going to be like, this is the filler episode. We got to release Tales of the Jedi on this day.
Yeah, exactly. So there we go. Any other thoughts on Tales of the Jedi? I mean, we've all seen the first episode on this show, so we know how good at least 1 out of 6 of this show is going to be.
Yaddle's getting her day in the sun.
Yeah. Oh, Yaddle! Yes, right.
And it's not looking good because she's fighting Dooku, and we know only one of those 3 people survived. So I don't know how to feel about that.
Finally, we will know where Grogu came from.
I thought about that as a joke, but then I've thought about it so much where I'm like, what if it's true though? Like, what if it's like that's why they did the flashback scene? That's where he came from. Also, like Yaddle brought
they confirm in the High Republic that Yaddle does not talk backwards? Didn't they confirm that?
If they did, I missed that.
Actually,
if not, then we're going to get that reveal in this episode.
That up. Yeah, I think that's actually a thing. Correct.
Oh my god!
Sure that's...
So we're in for
we're gonna hear a non-Yoda Yoda speak.
I don't.
How's that
gonna work?
That's gonna not compute in my brain.
I don't want that. I wanted Yoda to be the only one that ever spoke. But
Grogu has to speak at some point.
Eventually, yeah.
Season 18 of Mandalorian.
Now the question is, will Grogu come out sounding like Luke, Ahsoka, Din, or Yoda, or Yaddle?
Grogu was just gonna say "This is the way" over and over again. Everybody like, what does he mean?
I am Grogu. I am Grogu.
I am Grogu.
Dada.
Yeah. Oh no, Grogu's first words are absolutely gonna be Mando. Right?
I love it. Are we meant to ask about why Grogu's on your shoulder today, Dom?
No,
Is that there for a reason?
No, it's just there. I got it. I got one of these like things at Disneyland where there's a magnet so it sticks on your shoulder. So I thought I'd wear it during the show. And none of you were even remotely fazed by it.
No, I wasn't phased at all.
We are an hour in.
I've been sitting here the whole time trying to figure out how it works. Okay, I was like, is it a magnet?
Yes. Have you
is
done
there
the
a
same
secret
thing?
strap?
There's
like,
a Porg
maybe
one. They used to have
Velcro,
Porg ones
maybe
like that.
Clipped
Yeah.
on.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
there used to be Porg ones. You can get Baby Groot ones. But yeah, so there's Grogu. I have to hold him far away so that he doesn't get green screened. And then there's the magnet, and it just sits on your
he's
shoulder.
green, of course.
Under your shirt.
Got a pail for that.
Wow.
Yeah.
A little
So
bit.
there it is. There's Grogu. Finally somebody acknowledged
Look
it.
at that sorted.
Yeah. Between this and the pre-show, we've been on the air for 90 minutes, and you three are just like, yeah, no, that seems like something you would do.
Yeah,
You
that's
just
Grogu.
have
That's
Grogu
Grogu
on your shoulder.
Yep.
Yeah. Nothing phases you. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyways, Tales of the Jedi looks great.
Yes.
Coming out October 26th.
Don't wait for it to come out. Just order 100 more episodes, Disney Plus. You don't need to wait. Just make 100
This
more.
is what we all need to do. We all need to turn on our TVs, have this when you go to bed, just have Tales of the Jedi playing on loop on all of your devices. We need to get those numbers up. And season 2 is
Most
guaranteed.
watch show on Disney Plus. Let's do this.
Yes. Move over, Obi-Wan. Move over, Mando. It's Tales of the Jedi time.
That
I'm
week,
gonna make a Tales of the Jedi shirt.
Wow, nobody watched Andor this week. They were all watching Tales of the Jedi.
Yeah, because that episode of Andor is going to suck. I'm telling you.
There's not going to be any more Andor. We know that. They have the entire story in 2 seasons, so that doesn't need to do well.
That's
We're going to get it either way.
Andor that Cassian never shows up. He's not in the episode at all.
I mean, if it's all Mon Mothma, I'm not going to complain.
That's when the show pulls a Bad Batch and it's like, yeah, he'll be in it for one scene. The rest of the time we're following other people.
The title of it will be The Mandalorian Returns Again, and it's just young. It's just de-aged Pedro Pascal shows up.
Pedro
just getting in there for another scene.
Another angle of that scene where he gets rescued.
Oh, good stuff. So that's October 26th. That's gonna be a great week. Like I'm half joking about that Andor. I got half joking about that Andor episode,
This
but
is
like
Jedoween. This is Jedoween.
Oh yeah, it is Halloween week. Oh,
that's
nice.
Interesting.
Wow.
Even better.
You remember when they used to do Clone Wars episodes and they would like specifically time it so like the spooky episode was out on Halloween?
Yes.
Like, you got, like Brain Invaders and the zombies.
Rookies.
Yeah. I wonder if this is a sign that Tales of the Jedi might be a little spooky.
Yeah. Or maybe there'll be a Christmas episode in there and they're just really getting started on things early.
Happy Life Day, Ahsoka! All your friends are dead.
This is where we find out. This is where we find out that Count Dooku's nickname was Spooky Dookie, and that's why he left the Jedi Order.
Oh,
Spooky Dookie.
Like I'm done with you guys. I'm gonna leave it out. I can't have people call me Spooky Dookie.
Spooky Dookie.
Oh wow!
I had to put up with so much. Suddenly I don't feel so
worse that in canon his nickname is Do. Like that's his canon nickname in Sifo Dyas Gibson.
What's up, Do?
Yeah, which we talked.
Count Dooku, where are you?
His spin-off show is going to be Do, Where's My Car? Do, Where's My Speeder? Yeah.
Oh,
I had something else I was going to say, but I forgot now. Oh, right. Ben, you mentioned in relation to Ahsoka, there potentially being some canon changes. I really enjoyed that Count Dooku audio drama, and I'm glad that I can enjoy things that aren't canon. I'm glad I don't need them to be for my enjoyment, because that one's going out the window. I have a feeling.
Yeah, Fleming was like,
He's like, Kevin Scott, great work on this, dude. All right, no more. No more. All right, let's talk about Mandalorian because that's the next thing up. Actually, the next thing up is Bad Batch, but we finally got a release date for that, January 4th. Happy New Year.
They say.
Thank God. Thank God.
I mean, yeah, it's always possible. Yeah, I kind of feel for the Bad Batch, and I think I've said this before, but I'll say it again just for the sake of it. Bad Batch sad. It's happy. We're getting
sad
it finally.
So late.
Oh, okay.
It's so late.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. But I feel a little bad for the Bad Batch because last year it was asked to be Star Wars, right? Mando ended late 2020. Book of Boba wasn't ready till literally the last 4 days of 2021. And there was 1 week of Visions in there as well. But otherwise, the thing that we got, the most of was the Bad Batch. The thing that was carrying the Star Wars discussion was the Bad Batch. And I think it did a really good job of that. I thought it was a really, I really loved season 1, and I thought it did a lot of interesting things, and it was set up for an interesting second season. And then it just kind of got kicked around. Like I was saying, it's the back burner. It's this afterthought of Star Wars when, a year ago it was asked to, carry the franchise essentially. And I hope that it gets its due in January. It's 16 episodes again, which is good. It's getting another proper season. But yeah, I don't know. I'm glad that we have a release date for it. I'm glad we can look forward to it. I'm glad that it won't be competing with Andor, or probably won't be competing with Mando either, which we can talk about in a second. I'm glad that it's going to get its moment in the sun. I'm just a little bit perplexed as to why it took this long. There were plenty of windows this year in which it could have been released.
Yeah.
Anywho, hopefully it leads to his 3rd season. That's all I'll say about that. Mandalorian season 3. We got the teaser trailer that dropped again at D23. Very similar to the one from Star Wars Celebration back in May. Interesting to note about this. In May, they told us that the new season was coming in February. That seems to have been scrubbed from the marketing. Now it just says 2023. Could be any point. In fact, what's 16 or 17 or 18 weeks after January 4th? Because that's when I think this show will come out. So maybe April.
Yeah.
Maybe we're looking more like an April kind of situation, and then Ahsoka in August, and then something else in the fall. Something
Andor season.
I'm gonna say Andor season 2 doesn't come till year after next. I think
Skeleton Crew.
Skeleton Crew, yeah, Skeleton Crew.
I'm pretty sure that's
or Acolyte, one of those two.
Yes.
Yeah, one of those two coming up.
I think Skeleton Crew started filming before Acolyte. I think.
Yeah, it's just right around the same time.
Yeah.
Or actually, Acolyte. I guess we haven't gotten any sort of official confirmation that Acolyte has started filming. But there's been lots of set reports of stuff being built, stuff being readied, and the cast is gathering. But yes, you're right. I think Skeleton Crew would come next, and then probably Acolyte somewhere after that. But anyways, the season 3 trailer again. We'll go around the table one more time on this. Chris, you're up first this time. Everybody gets a chance to go first, except me, which feels wrong.
Well, you can go first when we talk about the non-Star Wars trailers.
Yeah, I'll go first when we talk about Indiana Jones because I'm the only one who's seen it.
That's right. Wait.
Mandalorian season 3.
Yes.
Go.
So, let me travel back in time to when I first saw it.
Yeah.
Although apparently it is different. I don't even remember. But cool, awesome, rad. Super excited for more Katie Sackhoff and Bo-Katan stuff. She was a big part of this trailer, and that's super exciting. That's really the thing that we got left off of in season 2 was the big question of, okay, now there's this thing where she feels like she should be the leader and she feels like she should have the Darksaber, but she doesn't. How is that gonna work? Really interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's the big kind of question, and that's sort of running through, I think, this season. And last season, her and Din started off kind of on. They weren't necessarily on the same page, but it felt like they got on the same page at the end. And then very quickly, we're not on the same page at the very, very end. They were sort of like, they worked together when it was convenient, but the rest of the time, they were kind of not necessarily enemies, but not necessarily allies either. And there's a very interesting line in the trailer that she says to him. She says, "Your cult fractured our people. Where were you then?" And I think it was teased last season. I think this season we're really going to get into the Mandalorian, the politics of the Mandalorians. Like, I don't think we're going to necessarily see, the Mandalorian Senate, but we'll see, the way the different clans interact with each other. And I think that's going to be really exciting and really interesting, and will make this season feel quite different from the two that have come before. Ben, your thoughts on Mando season 3 trailer?
Yeah, I mean, it looks amazing. Clearly they're holding stuff back. Like there's a lot in this trailer, but there's also a lot that I remember. I'm having trouble remembering a lot of it, but there is several things that I think they kind of strategically maybe left out of this one. I remember I think there was 2 different versions, if you remember, of the Mandalorian season 3 trailer. One that was played at the first panel, and there was a longer version that played later. Right. So I know there's some other stuff in there. I think there's some more Mando action. I can't remember. But I had to go back and dig up the old potato quality version to verify that. But we do get a lot of that in this one. I'm glad we finally, everyone gets to see this, and obviously get to see it again. And there's some. It's really cool. I mean, you see the whole, the ruins of Sundari and all these Mandos and all this. It kind of shows you the scope and the feel and the visuals of this show that I think continuing to up the ante in regards to how this show looks and how it feels and the scope of it and everything like that. I think I was even seeing some interviews of Rick Famuyiwa and Pedro Pascal talking about this was it's called The Mandalorian, but there was always going to be more Mandalorians. There's always going to be, a lot more of those. So it's really cool that we're getting all this, and it looks amazing. It looks amazing, but we're not getting any story. We're not really getting much. All we know is, he's going to go to the mines of Mandalore to redeem himself. But what's that mean? And what's all this? I don't know. But I love the space action too. Like that's my favorite part. It's just cool. The N1 doing spins as they do in space in an asteroid field.
Spinning, that's a good trick.
And then Grogu falling around in no gravity. Great. Space magic. There you go.
Love it. Yeah, this was like a perfect teaser trailer, I will say, because it gives away almost nothing about the plot, but it shows you so much intriguing imagery that you're like, oh, I want to know more. Hannah, your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, really echoing the thoughts of everyone here. I think it's a very Mando trailer. It's very similar to season 1 and 2, where somehow it there's a lot of scenes and different shots, but I can't actually piece together the story quite yet. And I remember having that, very, very distinct same feeling with the season 2 trailer. There was so many great shots and you're flying somewhere, you're running, and
2 years ago today.
Well, I saw that tweet and that blew my mind. That blew my mind. Jeez, that was 2 years ago. Holy wow. But very similar trailer, just really cool. Oh, Flash, whoa, he's running, he's jumping off a cliff, but he's got a jetpack. Super cool. But it's where's the direction? Where are we going? Which is interesting. Which is not really a complaint, more of just an observation. But yeah, this trailer doing the same thing. Of course, really excited to see Mandalore. The one thing I really want to see, and I don't know how we will see it, is do you guys remember that fantastic Picasso-esque portrait of Queen Satine? Queen Satine?
Duchess.
Saying that, I was like, that didn't sound right. Duchess Satine. In the the Mandalorian hall, the main hall there, and there's that big artwork of her. And that was always in a lot of amazing shots, and it was in the Siege of Mandalore, and when the second Maul was dueling. I think it was always such a symbolic thing of Mandalore and the people of Mandalore. And then Darth Maul had it in Rebels. He took it and he like broke it apart and took it to his little cave on Dathomir.
Yeah.
For some reason, I feel like that artwork would be a really cool way to incorporate Satine's like presence. Because the one thing of, when we think of Mandalore, I think of Duchess Satine, and she was such an excellent character for many reasons. Her connection with Obi-Wan was also very, passionate and powerful, and, her death was really, really sad. So I just, what I'm trying to get at is I really hope there's some sort of connection, symbol, moment, acknowledgement of Satine and her character and influence in Bo-Katan's life, but also in her influence on the planet of Mandalore. And maybe it's just in dialogue, maybe they mention her in some way of her kind of leadership. But yeah, that's my long tangent of how I want some sort of symbolic connection to Satine in the show. But yeah, really excited that we're just back on Mandalore at all. So really, really cool. Really, really cool.
Just the simple fact that we are seeing Sundari, we are seeing something that was introduced in live action. I know, like it's not a high bar to cross anymore. We've got literally Bo-Katan played by Katie Sackhoff in live action now. Nothing should surprise us at this point, but it still blows my mind that we have this thing that was introduced in season 2 of the Clone Wars. We have this incredible city, this incredible thing that that is calling back to the origins of Mandalore, now showing up on screen in this incredible way, but also in a completely different way. So yeah, and you got Filoni involved in this, of course. Satine is involved in that, but I would love to see something along those lines. Just like it was back in season 1 of like, oh, you got a show about Mandalorians. Well, you kind of have to acknowledge Bo-Katan. Like, what's Bo-Katan doing? And then we got that. So I wouldn't even put it past him to somehow bring Satine back. Like, I don't know, have somebody like
robot legs.
Like get what's her name to play. Yeah.
How would Obi-Wan Kenobi feel about that? I don't know.
Well, he'd be dead at this point, so he'll just have to deal with it. I would be shocked, to be honest, if at some point this season Bo-Katan doesn't mention her sister. I feel like that. I feel like that's going to come up. But again, like you said, Ben, there's all these overt Clone Wars connections beyond just that character being involved. We're dealing with the politics of Mandalore. It's hard to do that without mentioning the former ruler of Mandalore, the Duchess. It feels like we're due for a mention of Satine in there.
What better way to mention and symbolize the Satine rule than with her own blood of Corky Cries.
Yes, let's go.
Bring back Corky Cries in this
Corky lives.
Yes.
Corky lives.
He's some kicking ass back there. I don't know what he's doing or what he's been up to, but he's somewhere like in the mist of Mandalore trying to survive, and we meet him and he like joins Bo-Katan. I don't know, but bring Corky back.
Yeah. Corky's out there dealing with tea all over the galaxy. He's just
everybody knows
getting out there
that Corky's parents are Satine and Obi-Wan. Everybody knows.
Well, I mean, one of Corky's friends is in The Mandalorian already.
That's right.
Omid Abtahi, who plays
yes, that's right,
voices one of his friends in the Clone Wars. So I always love that fact.
What are we going to do?
So like maybe that's the twist. Is like all those Mandos you see with Din are like the kids grown up. It's like Corky and his buddies, and they're back at it again. With Mandalorian.
Back in trouble again.
should I ask Omid if he's back as Corky? Because I'm meeting him in a week and a half in the Sydney Oz Comic Con. I should ask him.
I need to actually let me look up his character name.
Yeah, he's like, hey, is Corky and Corky's friend gonna show up?
Yeah. Ask him if he's going to be playing Cadet Amos. Yeah,
wow,
just
really...
ask him, see if he remembers. Like, be one of those like fans. It's like, yes, are you going to be reprising your role as Cadet Amos?
Here's how you do it. Here's how you do it. You go up to him and say,
yes.
I'm really excited to see you in The Mandalorian. And he'll say, yeah, I'm really interested in Dr. Pershing. You say, no. Really excited to see you as Amos in The Mandalorian. And just see what his face does. See what his face does. If you can, be filming him in that moment.
Yes.
Like have a shirt with a pocket on the front and put your phone in it facing outward and just film the moment. Yeah. See what he says.
Absolutely. Okay.
I am once again sending a friend request to Whit Hartford, the talented voice actor behind Corky Christ.
Okay.
Because
why not?
He does not accept my friend request. I've been trying to send this to him for like a year.
I think he's trying to tell you something.
It's not. It's just. I don't think he's not
Maybe
seeing
it's because he's in. Maybe it's because he's in The Mandalorian. He can't friend anyone new.
There you go. Something else that's interesting about this trailer. Let me just desperately change the subject.
Sorry, yeah.
No, it's all good. Actually, speaking of Omid Abtahi, we do actually see him in the trailer very, very briefly, walking with
cool.
Katie O'Brien's comms officer. Character that still doesn't have a name, and so she had to sign my picture.
Favreau, what are you doing? Name your characters, for goodness sake.
She literally signed my picture at Celebration as comms officer. I was like, Katie, this is great, but can't you get a name? But no, something actually. What I did want to bring up about the trailer is actually related to Grogu, because I was sort of intrigued by Grogu's presence in the trailer. Obviously, you got to have Baby Yoda in the trailer for the Baby Yoda show. Understood. But more so this season than the previous one, the trailer kind of has Grogu just sort of along for the ride. Like, the season 2 trailer seemed to be all about Grogu. All about people talking about him, all about people doing stuff about him, all of that stuff. The season 1 trailer, they were hiding him, so that doesn't count. But the season 2 trailer was like, this guy is the key to the plot of this season. Whereas the season 3 trailer feels like he's just kind of there. You know, he's there doing Grogu cute things. He's got his hands up in space and all that fun stuff. And, you know, it takes me back to a conversation we had around the Book of Boba Fett, when they had those 2 random Mandalorian episodes that they disguised as Book of Boba Fett episodes. And we talked about, you know, the climax of season 2 was Grogu choosing to leave Din Djarin. And then in these 2 random episodes of the Book of Boba Fett, they undo that decision. And, you know, obviously you hope there's a story reason. But the cynical part of me wonders if it was just they didn't realize how popular this guy was going to be, and they wanted to keep him in the show. And I wonder if, you know, I assume there's a story reason. But I'm just thinking out loud here that there is a world in which season 3 of Mandalorian comes out. It's mainly about the, you know, Mandalorian political maneuvering and the sort of the civil war of Mandalore. And Grogu is just kind of there. He's just sort of a passenger. He's the audience along on this journey. And he isn't the center of the story the way he was for season 1 and season 2. Again, it's hard to make any sort of judgments based on a minute and a half long trailer. And I get that. And they're just trying, and again, this is a teaser trailer. They're just trying to show us cool imagery that gives us a little bit of a taste so that whenever February or whatever month this show premieres and rolls around, we're ready for more. And the next trailer that comes out may well be all Grogu stuff all the time, and we'll be like, oh, that's what his story is, and this will have been a pointless conversation. But this was a thought that I had after watching this trailer.
Here's the thing. So we know that when we see too little of something in a Star Wars trailer, it means there's something that they don't want to show us. So as Matthew already jokingly suggested, maybe Grogu gets some type of weapon or outfit change that there's a reveal for. And that's why we can't see much of him, because something major changes, like he's whipping around a mini dark saber dagger or something the rest of the season.
get him some Valyrian steel.
Well, how about Bo and Din are fighting over the Darksaber, and they're like, oh, let's just split it in half, and then they split it in half, and then Grogu gets a little piece of it.
Sure, why not?
When did they split it? Did they split it
lengthways?
Somebody gets the blade. They can't hold it. They just hold it with tongs.
They cut the blade in half.
A stick just crack.
Yeah, Din Djarin just cracks it over his knee.
Cracks it over his knee. You find out that Beskar's a little stronger than the Darksaber.
And then Maul's in the corner like, no, I'll take it. I don't want it to be destroyed.
Oh, man.
Grogu just finds a little sliver and he's like, this is mine.
I do agree with you, Dominic, that I am wondering, what is Grogu's story? Like, he was the driving force behind the story. It was justifiable to have it. Like, there were some episodes of season 2 in particular, I think like the first episode of season 2, which is great. Like, it's a fantastic episode, but not a big
I don't even remember. Episode. What, remind me what that episode
is? It's Tatooine, the dragon episode.
Of course. Yeah.
I want to say the sheriff. It's not the sheriff. It's the other
Marshal.
Marshal. How could I not think of the
sheriff?
Marshal?
Cobb Vanth Refrigeration.
Yeah, it's a legendary episode. I mean, it's an incredible episode, but like Grogu's just there. Like, he's not doing. He's hiding in the spittoon. He's ducking in around rocks and thing. He's worried about his dad who's gone into the belly of a giant crate dragon, but he's not doing a whole lot for the story. And it's justifiable because Din is on that journey to help find where Grogu is going and things. Like, that's all part of the story. So you can justify Grogu being off to the side. Now that Grogu's come back from that, made the choice to come back to to his dad, what is the story? What's things? And I'm assuming something's going to happen with, the whole, that was one of my, it's funny. I have two problems and they're opposite of each other. One is, Grogu, he came back too soon. I figured he might come back at some point, but like bringing him back in Book of Boba Fett, I think was the wrong move. I think that like it was too soon to bring it back. But on the flip side of that, it's also, he left, the Mandalorian left the show, even though he's back in season 3. Anybody that watched season 2 and went to season 3 is like really confused right now.
That previously on is going to be wild.
Really. But like, they didn't resolve the plot line of, okay, what does the Empire want with his blood? What are they doing with the cloning? What are they doing with this? They didn't resolve any of that. So I'm assuming season 3 will continue that thread. And Moff Gideon, we haven't seen him in any of the trailers. We know he's in there because Giancarlo Esposito has been talking a lot. We're assuming he's going to be still after him. Pershing also wants the kid. He's in the trailer. What's going on there? I think we're going to go in that direction. I'm sure Favreau and Filoni are have a plan, and I should trust them, but I am a tiny bit skeptical.
Honestly, Ben, that actually reassured me. The fact you reminded us of the whole thing with Pershing and the Empire and all that stuff. Like, again, I'm not as creative as Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, so this is probably not the way the season will shake out. But I can see a version of the season in which Din has to unite the Mandalorian clans because the Empire is coming after him, and he's coming after Grogu, and they want his blood, and they want it, big time. And so a real powerful Imperial fleet, perhaps with a certain Grand Admiral at the controls.
There is one specific, really incredible shot from the original Mandalorian season 3 trailer that they showed at Celebration that is not in this trailer. There's a shot of 2 Star Destroyers in dry docks. Would look like Coruscant. That's suggesting a strong Imperial presence in this season.
Yeah. So the Empire is going to be a big part of that. I think you're making some sense here.
I'm onto something, guys.
You're onto something, yeah. And again, when they hide something in the trailer, it's usually for a reason. The fact that really the only Imperial presence we have in this season, in this trailer, is that quick shot of Dr. Pershing and comms officer walking down the street suggests that there might be something else going on, especially given how much that Imperial imagery was a part of the previous 2 seasons and their
Honestly,
trailers.
I would not put it past them. I'm going to go ahead and say this now so that I can look back on this and say that I was smart, even though I don't know anything. That Thrawn just shows up at the end of the first episode, and that's why there's like nothing in this trailer because he's all over this season.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, we were talking about Andor. And how we're not expecting a ton of cameos in that, but I feel like this season again, there's some real possibilities for some big time cameos.
Also, Thrawn is out hunting rebels at the time of Andor. I'm just saying.
That's true.
That's a good point. Wow, yeah.
But at this point, I won't even count Bo-Katan as a cameo anymore. I feel like she's a regular on the show. Because it's going to be a big part of it. I feel like we'll probably see Ahsoka again. Probably see Sabine. It's Mandalorian, who's going to be a big part of the Ahsoka show. Feels like perfect place to introduce her. It wouldn't shock me if we saw Luke and R2 again.
Luke and Mara Jade.
I think that's for a different show. And then Thrawn's out there, Ezra's out there. These are people that allegedly have been cast already.
Not
for
Space
Ahsoka.
Aladdin.
Not Aladdin.
For years.
Yeah. Somebody else. Some other dude. Who really looks a lot like Ezra. Like when I saw the picture.
Spot on.
Yeah. When I saw the picture of him, I'm like, oh, they took season 1 Ezra, turned him into a real person and aged him up a few years. Yep, that's him.
Seriously.
Even Mina Masood had to admit it in his like really salty tweet. He's like, "Oh yeah, have to admit, dude looks like Ezra." Yeah, that's the Mandalorian trailer. Any other thoughts on that before we zip through a couple other things?
It's good.
Looks good. Yeah.
I think I've said too much. I think I spoiled the whole season. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, Ben sorted out the plot for us. The next thing up, I think, is likely. Again, we don't have release dates anymore. We just have vague windows. The next thing up is likely Ahsoka, the upcoming series. They talked a little bit about Ahsoka at D23, and they showed a couple of images from the show. The main one we actually have up here on the screen. It's from the same moment that we actually see in the little mini Ahsoka trailer that they showed at Celebration of Sabine, as played by Natasha Liu Bordizzo, looking at the Rebels mural from Lothal. And this is such a great touch that it's in the Rebels style of animation, the mural.
Yeah.
I love that because it's like it's an artistic representation of what these characters would look like painted by somebody. It's beautiful. I think it's terrific. So we get another quick look at her as Sabine from far away. There were a couple of other shots of just sort of Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka just standing there. Like, honestly, that's what they were. She had her lightsabers out in one of them. She seemed to have like a spotlight on her from above in another one. Don't really tell us a whole lot. But one thing that Jon Favreau said at D23 is that the lightsaber fights in Ahsoka are really cool, which, you would expect lightsaber fights in Star Wars to be really cool, but he did confirm that there will be lightsaber fights. So that means we need a villain with a lightsaber.
Interesting.
Or an antagonist with a lightsaber.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna say, Ezra's been gone a real long time. With no one to talk to but Thrawn and some space whales. What if when he first shows up again, he's not the, spunky kid we knew back in the day? What if he's gone a little darker? What if some things have happened to him?
I mean, that's a thing that is genuinely explored in Rebels. That I at the time was disappointed that they didn't explore more, which is like Ezra's dark side. Like, Ezra really struggled with the dark side for a while, had the Sith holocron and all that kind of stuff. Like, that's in him. He overcame it, but as we know, even with the best Jedi, they can slip, they can fall, they can have struggles again. So who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what if Ezra's introduction into this series is a showdown of some kind with Ahsoka? Like, what if they are not allies at the start of the show? What if maybe he's possessed? Like, who knows? Something could be going on there. The other option that has been bandied about is there's a very, very, very good chance that one Hayden Christensen is in this show.
Yeah.
And, maybe in a flashback, maybe in a vision, maybe in something else, Ahsoka could not necessarily fight Anakin Skywalker, although possible, I suppose, but Darth Vader. And, we've seen Hayden play Vader again recently. So maybe they put him back in that suit.
Wouldn't it be interesting if they went back to that concept art from Force Awakens where it's like Hayden, but it's like shifting back and forth between Vader? Like half Vader, half Anakin. Like if Filoni took that and kind of did something with it, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, which that novel that came out, Shadow of the Sith or Secrets of the Sith or Secrets of the Shadow or whatever it was called.
Yeah, that's right.
Sith of the Sith.
Yeah, Secrets
of the Sith.
Secrets Sith of the Sith. I like it. Anakin shows up as a Force ghost in that, and he kind of does that in that book. He's kind of so there's a little bit of a precedent for it, but it would be really cool to see on screen.
Yeah,
really, really cool. Yeah. So I'm fascinated to know what Anakin's role in Ahsoka is going to be. It just makes sense that he's there, but lightsaber duel between Ahsoka and Anakin in some kind of vision or a test or something.
Yeah.
Another opportunity there. Just
or
throwing it out.
Or Barrisoffy.
Ooh.
Or Barrisoffy. Yeah.
I like the idea of her coming into it.
Yeah,
even, who has the dark saber this time? No, she wouldn't be fighting Mando for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that would be good. That would be a twist. Yeah. Din Djarin shows up for his requisite 2 episodes of every Star Wars series and just has a showdown with Ahsoka. It's like who's the main character of this era? There can be only one, and they face off for it.
Or I don't know whatever happened to the bottom half of Darth Maul. Maybe they'll answer that question.
Hey, there you go.
What he fights with is he holds the lightsaber in his feet and just
he break dances. That's his fighting. He's break dancing with his legs.
Yes, I like it. So that's likely what's next in Ahsoka. Joel throwing in a prediction here. Prediction: we will see Ezra and Thrawn in the last episode of Ahsoka. I think mid-season. I'm going.
Yeah, what kind of story are they going to tell before that? Like, that's a lot of story.
Yeah, I do think that Thrawn will in some way be, if not the big bad, but part of a sort of collective big bad for the Mandoverse as a whole, and that when we do a climactic event, Thrawn will be a big part of that. So I don't think we'll see the defeat of Thrawn in Ahsoka, but I do think we'll get to these characters eventually. It might sooner than the last episode. It might take a couple episodes to get there. I'm not expecting to see them in season 1 and episode 1, but season 1, episode 4, episode 5, 6 even.
Yeah, I think the fact that Ahsoka mentioned Thrawn in The Mandalorian is an omen that Thrawn is due to show up in The Mandalorian first. And then that will set up Ahsoka.
Really?
Being that Ahsoka's coming pretty soon after.
So maybe you're thinking, Ben, last episode of Mandalorian.
Like last scene of season
so in a sense, like
the post-credit scene. Yeah, he'll go all Thanos.
In a sense, it's like Ahsoka is Mando season 3.5. Like Book of Boba Fett was Mando season 2.5.
Think the Book of Boba Fett reveal, like it's the ending post credit scene,
That's
and then
true.
Ahsoka coming October, whatever
Well, and given the way they've shaken out the series so far, with Book of Boba Fett really being Mandalorian season 2.5, it wouldn't shock me if Ahsoka is Mandalorian season 3.5 or season 3.25, and then Skeleton Crew is season 3.5 or something. It wouldn't surprise me if these shows wind up being even more interconnected than we initially thought. Just how they've played out so far.
I mean, you can't have a show with Bo-Katan fighting for a Darksaber and then have Sabine over in another show having once wielded the Darksaber and have them not meet and do something together somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would be genuinely shocked if Sabine is not in Mandalorian season 3.
And that already will connect them so much.
And honestly, I think more likely than Thrawn being in the last episode or being the tag for the season. I think maybe Sabine being that might be the way they go.
And like I think about how they've back to like the marketing of things, how they've marketed Andor. Like Rogue One was a successful Star Wars movie. A lot of people knows that movie and probably the names of Andor and maybe Jin, even if they're just casual fans. So and they've been really hounding this. This is who Andor is. Like this is this guy. This is his name. This is his context. Like they've been really hounding that. So I think it makes a lot of sense if they do the whole like Sabine, Ahsoka, Ezra, like even Thrawn thing at the end of Mando, because I think Lucasfilm will have that same mindset of like, okay, to like drive people to understand what this Ahsoka show is. Like we have to we got all these millions of people watching Mando. Let's introduce these characters that don't know them here. Does that make sense? What is it? Yeah, it was like, that whole connecting, I think. Yeah, from the marketing point of view, they're like shown us. They're really about that. They're like, we've got to like really over explain who these characters are, so they, the fans can be sold on them. Casual fans, at least.
Absolutely. Matthew Hardy in the chat saying they should not kill off Thrawn compared to what happened at the end of the original Thrawn trilogy. Spoilers. In Legends, I mean that book's 30 years old now.
It was so artfully done.
Yeah.
There we go.
Enough with killing the bad guys. Yeah, I mean, eventually, I think they'll have to defeat Thrawn pretty permanently just to, take him off the board for, explain why he's off the board for the sequel trilogy. But no need to do it right away. Let him play out. Let's get many seasons across multiple shows with this guy as the baddie.
I mean, he had 3 books.
Yeah,
that's a lot of material.
He's got 9 books now. There's the 3 original one. And then there was the 3 like sort of vaguely Rebels tie-in ones, and then there's the Ascendancy trilogy as well, and then he pops up in other places.
But they know his weakness now. Space whales is Thrawn's ultimate weakness. So they know whenever they need to get rid of him, they know how to do it.
Yeah, that's why Ezra's going to be in this show. He's the only one that can call him. Joel asking here, do you think Ahsoka could lead to a spin-off with a reunited Rebels crew while Ahsoka goes off to do other stuff, maybe in the unknown regions? No. I think the Rebels crew, I think it's very possible that the Rebels crew will reunite in Ahsoka, but except Kanan, obviously. But I think those characters are going to I think those characters are gonna bounce around in other places, but I don't know. What Ben? Hannah, what do you guys think?
I wouldn't put anything past them, honestly. At this point, I think they're kind of like throwing things out there, seeing anything. If people really respond to the Rebels crew, I think they'll greenlight something real fast.
It's true. It's possible. We did basically see Hera in the Ahsoka trailer, and we know Sabine's there. I'm banking on Zeb. I think that's likely.
Zeb? Where's Gareth Zeb? Where is he?
I swear we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. That dude who was the Predator. I swear he said he's doing something for Star Wars. I swear he's going to be Zeb. He's going to be Zeb, and then we've got Ezra as well. So it's possible, I suppose.
And the ghost. Where's the ghost?
I think we'll see the ghost. I think the ghost will be in there.
Chopper.
Yeah.
We
saw Chopper at Celebration.
Yeah, that was the new and improved Chopper, man.
Yeah.
And a lot of people thought they saw the ghost in the Ahsoka trailer at Celebration. I don't think we did. I think there was some other ships in there, but we're gonna see the ghost. Like that's gonna happen.
Yeah. Hannah, any thoughts on the idea of a live action Rebels sequel? Even more so than we're already getting.
Yeah, I feel like we've got a lot of the elements already. I don't think they're gonna come out with the live action Rebels show of any sort. But I think we got a lot of the core elements scattered throughout. That I don't think it's maybe necessary. But I think they'll kind of push the Rebels characters. I think there's like what you just said before, Dom, of like kind of realizing, oh, these characters are kind of doing well. People like Ezra, people like Sabine, and kind of maybe continue down that. Maybe we could get some other Rebels characters. Vizago, maybe he's the big baddie in
Morgan.
I was gonna say, if this whole thing winds up being the villain as Morgan winds up being the villain, I'm gonna be
Morgan.
Best
as Morgan lives.
As Morgan lives.
Such a well-written character.
Well written, well-rounded character. Love As Morgan. My favorite in all of Star Wars.
He's cloning puffer pigs to take over the galaxy.
Hey. Percy turned me around
Puff
on puffer
the
pigs.
magic
I'm okay.
Puffer pig. That's AP5's new song.
Trying to sweeten the
there
deal
it is. There we go. God, I hadn't thought about it as Morgan in so long, and now
God, you can always count on me to remind you.
I feel like I'm back in 2014. I'm getting worked up. All right.
He's such a good character.
Is he?
Yeah. Okay. Think of.
Best
We're talking about
episode.
the Hobbit. Who? Oh, geez. What's the actor's name? That played the Goblin King in the Hobbit.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about? You guys seen the
Vaguely.
You know the Hobbit.
Vaguely.
I don't know. 2 seconds. It was Barry Humphries.
There we go. He could play as Morgan. But sorry, let's continue. I had to get that out of my head.
I'm envisioning James Hong in full as Morgan makeup. That's what I'm envisioning.
All right. Moving on.
How dare you?
I will say, let me cleanse the palate with this Hondo Ohnaka cameo.
Yes.
Oh,
that.
yeah.
I can't believe we haven't seen Hondo in live action. How has this not happened?
I mean, he's basically in live action. I've seen him in person. He's in live action. Just do it.
We've been in the same room as him.
Gonna say. I think season 3 of Mandalorian.
I've been
got a
in
good
the
feeling
Millennium
about
Falcon.
this.
He's on the screen there. I can see him.
I got a good feeling about season 3 of Mandalorian. I think Hondo could pop up in there. I think it'd be real cool. Final, well, not final thing just yet. We still got a couple others, but the last thing we have new sort of imagery for is Skeleton Crew. They dropped this new image of Jude Law as his character, who seems to be wearing a leather jacket and a scarf. He seems to have stolen Jessica Jones's wardrobe.
Easy cosplay. Let's go. Might have that.
We see him. There's about 3 of those interrogator doorbell droids that Jabba
Ring.
has.
It's the Star Wars version of Rings, the Ring camera.
Yeah. And then you can see in the background out of focus, there are 4 children waiting there. And
is the one on the right a Twi'lek?
That's not a human. There's no way that's a human.
Looks like the 2 on the right are not human.
No, it looks like
I think
Vax
that's
Rebo's species.
I think that's a human carrying a backpack.
No, that's Vax Rebo.
I see
it's blue, and I see the.
Oh my god, trunk. I can kind of see it.
Yeah. Look into the right. That's Max Rebo's son.
Well, the whole plot of Skeleton Crew is just Jude Law making sure that Max Rebo can get to that gig. He's got to get there. He'll walk through the desert.
That's his manager. Tour manager.
Yeah, it's actually a behind the music kind of vibe. It's it's a cool image. It's hard to read too much into it that we didn't already know. It's Jude Law and a bunch of children on a Star Wars adventure, and that's what this image communicates perfectly. Despite what Jude Law said on stage, the show is still filming. Jude Law kind of said something that they'd wrapped already, and I think he just kind of got a little confused and lost the words. Either that, or he's the Ned Stark of Skeleton Crew. The Ned Stark, yeah.
A little too much. When this guy dead.
Yeah, the Sean Bean. Jude Law is the new Sean Bean. But yeah, I was sort of surprised at D23 they didn't reveal the actors who are playing the kids, especially since that leaked right around the same time.
I not know who they are. They might be just people who
somewhere
never.
Those actors are like, I'm in this photo, but I can't say anything.
Yeah, I looked at the names that leaked, and I think one of the kids was in Encanto. but like was not the main character. So I can't really, I don't really know. I don't know who any of that. I'd never heard of any of them. Still only heard of Jude Law, but looking forward to learning more about Skeleton Crew, although likely won't be for a while yet. Joel dropping another super chat here. Anyone else find it interesting that Skeleton Crew will be the first Mandoverse era show not written by the Favreau-Filoni team? It's a different writer. That's right. John Watts and Christopher Ford are the sort of the showrunners on this. That is interesting. And I wonder if maybe it'll be slightly more of a step removed from the rest of the Mandoverse compared to Ahsoka or Book of Boba Fett. But Favreau brought these guys in. Favreau worked very closely with these guys. I think this show's still going to feel like it's a big part of the Mandoverse.
I have a theory.
Let's hear it.
It's just hit me. It's just hit me. When else have we met in the Mandoverse a group of ragtag young hooligans? And if that image kind of looks like we're on Tatooine. What if?
Gosh.
Wait, the mod squad used their mods?
Yes. The biker gang from Boba this is them as kids.
What if this is Boba's palace?
It does look kind of like it.
He installed extra security.
We're saying Skeleton Crew is a prequel to the Book of Boba Fett that tells the origins of the mods. The Vespa gang.
Yes. And
I thought you were gonna
character has to die.
I thought you were gonna say that they used the mods to make themselves kids. They like made themselves shorter with mods.
Taking a very strange turn.
Well, I was like, how are they just kids now? I'm like, oh, they could just make their legs shorter.
I agree with Dan. In the chat. Very.
That's why the two on the right look non-human, because they're not human anymore.
They got all these mods. Wow.
Those are
free mod squad.
Sure, I guess that's a possibility. That's anything could happen. Why not? It's possible. Okay. Let's move on.
Yes.
Let's move on. There was one final Star Wars announcement at D23. This actually took place outside of the main Lucasfilm panel, and that was the announcement of a new animated series for preschoolers called
Star Wars isn't for kids, it's for grown-ups.
Shut up, internet. Ben, you've just embodying the whole internet for me in that moment. Thank you. Thank you.
Negativity in here every once in a while.
Yeah. It's Young Jedi Adventures. It's set during the High Republic era. Here's what StarWars.com says about it. They say Jamal Avery and Emma Berman were announced to voice Kai Brightstar and Nash Durango in the upcoming series Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures. Kai Brightstar is a Jedi youngling who hopes to grow in the ways of the Force and follow in the footsteps of Master Yoda. Nash Durango is a pilot who befriends Kai and company and joining them on adventures across the galaxy. The animated series set during the High Republic will arrive in 2023. It will be released on both Disney Plus and Disney Junior.
Ooh.
Obviously it's a show for preschoolers, right? Like, people shouldn't expect it to be The Mandalorian, and I'm sure we will see everybody behave totally rationally around it, just like they did around Star Wars Resistance, which admittedly was aged for a slightly older audience. But I think we should have Star Wars stories for different age groups. I think it's perfectly fair to say we can have The Mandalorian that's for, older kids and adults. Andor, which seems to be for actually just for adults. And then you can have shows like Bad Batch that maybe skews a little bit younger. And then stuff like this, Young Jedi Adventures, that skews much younger. I can actually claim a small piece of history with Young Jedi Adventures because I'm pretty sure I got to be the first Star Wars fan to meet and congratulate Emma and Jamal on their casting in this show, because I happened to be by the Lucasfilm Pavilion at D23 while they were filming something, I believe, for the High Republic show. So don't quote me on this, but I think when the next episode of the High Republic show comes out, you'll see that. You'll see the two of them in there. And so I just sort of hung around and caught the eye of a Lucasfilm publicist that that we know a little bit. And they were kind enough to bring them over and say hello. And they were both super sweet kids and must be protected from this horrific fandom that we have.
Oh yeah.
And I'm looking forward to. I'm gonna check this show out. I don't know if I'll watch every episode, but I want to see a little baby Star Wars adventure in the High Republic. I think that'll be fun.
Is this the first time that they've reused the title of a show that didn't happen for a completely different show?
It's yeah. I think it is. It's very, very close. It's very, very close to the other show.
There was a Young Jedi show that was supposed to happen in like 2014 or
yes. So this is this is an interesting bit of trivia. The season 5 Clone Wars episodes, the Young Jedi arc that begins with the Gathering, was developed by George as a potential backdoor pilot for another series that would have followed Katuni and Gunji and all the kids in that crew. They are coming back in Bad Batch. That is true. They would have followed them on their adventures with Huang. So we would have had David Tennant in a starring role in a Star Wars series. And yeah, I think it would have been called Young Jedi. And so they've stuck the word adventures on the back of this one and said it's a new thing.
I remember at Celebration hearing like these mysterious talks of, oh, they're screening those episodes, but they want kids to be there. Like, they specifically asked for like families and kids to go to this panel at Celebration and watch these episodes. And like, they didn't say what it was for. They're just like, hey, we're doing this.
How did those kids react for them to cancel the show? Were they like, oh, we don't like this? What happened?
Finally, Disney's picking up where George left off, I suppose.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, it is those episodes, for as much as they were, focused on those kid characters, they were just Clone Wars episodes. Like, they were still pretty dark.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was Ahsoka was front and center for all of them. So like, it was a much Ahsoka story than it was a youngling story.
Mm-hmm. But now they've thrown the word adventure on the back, and we'll follow the adventures of Nash and Kai and the rest of their friends as they continue to explore the galaxy in the High Republic era. Also from Lucasfilm at D23, we got a new trailer for Willow. I don't know anything about Willow.
It was great. I've seen Willow. I'm one of those people that's seen it, and it exceeded my expectations. Like, a lot has been said about the dark ages of Lucasfilm between Return of the Jedi and Phantom Menace, and how except for George Lucas's involvement with Indiana Jones, there really wasn't much good stuff to come out of there. But I mean, I'm actually kind of really surprised that Willow wasn't as successful as it wasn't. Does that come out right? Yes. I was surprised it wasn't more successful. Like, when I watched it, I had never heard of it. The only reason why I knew about Willow was because Star Wars fans kept talking about it in reference to Warwick Davis, and so. But it's a great movie. It's really fantastic. It kind of reminds me of The Hobbit in some ways. It was like definitely better than the Hobbit movie. And like. Yes. And so this trailer was really exciting. Like, it was really epic, and I feel like we're in a kind of golden age right now of them doing sequels to 80s movies correctly. And I feel like this is going to be another one of those things that comes back that's really good, kind of like the Dark Crystal series that was on Netflix. Like, I think people are going to really like this.
See, I watched this trailer and I thought, this is Disney trying to get in on the Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings bandwagon. It's like they want to be like, there's the three big fantasy shows: Rings of Power, House of the Dragon, and Willow. I think that's what they're hoping for.
I wouldn't go so far as to say that Willow doesn't deserve to be with those things. Like it's good. Like it's just kind of shoved off to that kind of little that area that you have Willow, you have the Dark Crystal, and you have Labyrinth. That is like the epic other trilogy of fantasy that exists informally aside from Lord of the Rings that people only really talk about when you're in that world. But like those three things, that they're pretty good and they're cult classics at this point.
See, I haven't seen Willow, but it's after watching this trailer, and also there's a good bit about Willow in Light and Magic that I recently watched that goes into that, and I'm like, okay,
greatest documentary ever.
I guess I gotta watch Willow now.
Great, I highly recommend.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah. I will agree the trailer does look good. Like I was when they showed the trailer, I'm like, I could see myself liking this show. Well, it seems cool. But I don't know. I see the problem that this show and the next Indiana Jones movie are going to face with me, and probably me only, is I lightly resent them for taking up time in these panels that I feel like should be all about Star Wars. So I'm like, no, I don't like it. I just want my Star Wars. That's all I want. Not too much.
You sound like Ez Morgan.
God, that's Hannah. That's the worst thing anybody's ever said to me. I have to go home and rethink my life. Goodness.
Oh man.
Oh,
she wasn't wrong.
I love this show. Thank you. I wasn't stretching it.
Oh my goodness. I'm scared now to go back and listen to this part of the episode. I will say, since I've mentioned the Indiana Jones trailer, it does look pretty good. My cousin, my long lost cousin, he seems to be doing good things on the big screen with Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
I was disappointed by that. I thought we'd at least get a title reveal or something. Man, they're really holding back.
I think they're just going to call this movie Indiana Jones. I don't think they're going to give it a subtitle.
Wasn't there something called like The Last Adventure or something, or is that like a marketing?
There was The Last Crusade.
No, but I saw like a poster or something that said like The Last Adventure.
Indiana Jones and The Last Jedi. I don't know.
There was no The Last Jedi.
Indiana Jones Young Jedi.
Yeah, Indiana Jones Young Jedi Adventures. Starring Harrison Ford. Because when you think of Young Jedi, you think Harrison Ford.
I made it up.
I think there must have been a fan thing, because Harrison at one point did say, he confirmed this is going to be his last indie movie.
Yeah.
He was just speaking really like emotionally about it and how much he loves the character and he loves those movies. And then he goes, but I'm not making another one. You're not getting another one from me. So I think that's it. But
apparently they've substituted his son, Mutt, for Helena, his goddaughter.
Yeah, Phoebe
Are you saying that they've written Shia out of the story? How dare you? This is
such a shock, I know.
Factor of that movie.
But maybe it'll be Helena Jones. Maybe that's going to be the next movie. Give Phoebe Waller-Bridge the franchise.
Honestly, there's been a lot of talk about how they're not going to recast Indy. Wouldn't shock me if there's already some early discussions about a Helena spin-off movie.
Phoebe would kill it.
Starring
okay?
Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Yeah. Yeah. And I will confirm what Joel's saying in the chat. Harrison was tearing up during this moment, which was pretty sweet. It was pretty sweet. It's nice to see some raw emotion from Harrison Ford. But that's it. Those are the D23 reveals for Star Wars. I mean, we could talk about the Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga Galactic Edition, but who really cares?
It's like 18 new characters. It's like 18 new characters, guys.
Game ever.
I mean, it is great.
I just like
30 new characters. I'm sorry, 30. I underestimated.
30. It's going up by the minute. Oh my god!
Captain Rex, Reva, all those characters. Come on, you can't get excited about that.
45 characters now.
Also, probably Weird Al because they're doing the beach thing from
Sure.
Weird Al and Lego Star Wars. Hell yeah.
Love it. This is another one where I just lightly resent it for the way it was presented. I sat through a 90-minute presentation at D23 about Disney and Marvel video games thinking they must talk about Star Wars, and they spent about, I'm going to say 120 seconds on this. And I was like, guys. But I will say, actually, at that panel, Amy Hennig was there.
Oh.
And she is developing a Star Wars game.
Yes.
But she was there to talk about the Marvel game that she made, which sounds phenomenal. And I was once again feeling like I was really grateful that she is going to be involved in Star Wars because you can tell in the way she speaks, she thinks about storytelling in such an interesting way, and thinks about video game storytelling especially. And she with the Marvel stuff, which is something she'll have to do with Star Wars as well, is she was talking about making sure that the game was good for both video game fans and Marvel fans. And so with Star Wars, you need that. So it needs to be good for video game fans, but it also needs to be good for just Star Wars fans as well. So much love to Amy Hennig. That was outside of the 120 seconds of Lego Star Wars. That was the best 15 minutes of this panel.
I was really surprised they didn't mention the Fallen Order sequel. I was like fully expecting like announcement and maybe not a trailer or anything, but some sort of the title image or something, graphic of some sort. And
or
it's coming or it's in development.
Yeah,
hell,
the
there's a trailer
been there
or clips, and they didn't mention that either.
Yeah, I thought for sure the developers would be there and they'd be like, we're so excited to be back in this world, and we can't tell you anything, but really,
we're here and it's coming.
Cal Kestis is back. We could have done all sorts of cool stuff with that. So there's that Lego Star Wars, and then also Mando and Grogu are going to be walking around Galaxy's Edge starting in the fall.
Finally,
Grogu,
Mando.
Who's going to be the first person? Who's going to be the first person to tackle Mando and steal that Grogu? Who?
Oh my gosh!
Oh. I was just testing your security.
Like the guy that stole the R2.
The baby's mine.
Oh goodness, Ben, that was
baby.
All right, let's close the way we said we would close, with a little bit of Acolyte casting news. This comes from Deadline, which seems to have the scoop on all of the Acolyte casting news. I believe that's where all of this has come from. Here's the story. Exclusive. Former The Good Place star Manny Jacinto has been cast opposite Amanda Stenberg and newly minted Emmy winner Lee Jung-jae in Disney Plus's Star Wars series The Acolyte. In the series, which hails from Leslie Headland and Lucasfilm, Jacinto joins previously announced Jodie Turner-Smith. They have no details about his character, no details about the plot, any of that stuff, but the main thing is Manny Jacinto, a.k.a. Jason from The Good Place, Odip, has been cast in The Acolyte. I've liked all of the Acolyte casting so far. I think those are all very talented people, and I love that they're getting involved in Star Wars. This was the one that I'm like, all right, I'm here for this. This is the casting I want, but I didn't know that I wanted until now. So, Odip, Jason, he's in it. Amazing. So excited.
Pretty awesome.
Get that t-shirt ready, Chris. I'll buy one. I'll buy one too.
The Acolyte, Skeleton Crew, all the future stuff. Oh, it all made.
We'll get a jump on it before Lucasfilm can get to it. Yeah. But yeah, that's it. Any thoughts on Manny's casting here? Anybody else watch The Good Place or anything that he's been in? No.
I've seen a few episodes, so
yeah. Good casting.
Pretty awesome.
Well, he plays such a goofy character on that show.
Yeah.
That I'm excited and interested to see him potentially be something more serious, or maybe he's going to come in and be kind of a funny character. the same way that Kumail Nanjiani was in Obi-Wan Kenobi.
He's Darth Nihilus. He's killing daisies.
Yeah, why not? Why not? All right. We made it. We made it through all the news.
Yeah, wow.
Somehow we did it. We've gotten to the end, and I think we can begin to wrap things up for this week.
All right, so that'll do it for this episode of the Star Wars Underworld podcast. We want to thank everybody for watching and listening to the show. And if you've been watching the show, please subscribe to us on YouTube. That would be greatly appreciated. We'll be back with another show, not at the same time, next week.
Exactly.
That's right.
So, Dom, you want to give the special programming update?
Yes. So next week, we are coming to you one day early. We will be recording live on Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Pre-show at 9 o'clock for all of our Patreon supporters. This is just a one-week thing for the Andor premiere. For the following weeks, we will shift back to the Thursday release schedule. But you can blame me and you can blame the weekend for this scheduling adjustment because he decided... Actually, no, you can't blame the weekend. You can blame Rogers Communications in Canada because... It's a long story, but the weekend's concert had to be rescheduled. I have to work it. And I also want to talk about Andor on the show, and I want to talk about it with all of you. And fortunately, it worked out this week that we could all reschedule to Wednesday. So we will be back in 6 days' time. And obviously, for everybody listening on podcasts, we'll be out on Thursday mornings for you instead of Friday mornings.
That's right. And of course, you can follow us at the SWU for any programming updates. You need to be reminded of all of that. We'll be spamming social media like crazy when we are live talking about Andor. We'll let you know what it's up to. If you don't want to bother refreshing Disney Plus, I'm sure Ben's going to stay up to tweet. It's up!
Yeah,
Everybody.
Yeah, you can. I'm usually in bed going, it's up. Star Wars Andor is now live on Disney Plus. I'm going to bed now.
Take that at the SWU. Dominic, thank you so much for hosting.
Oh, it was my pleasure as always. It was good to go back through all of the D23 reveals. It was lots and lots of fun to be there and to see everybody out there and to get to be parts of Star Wars history, albeit sitting at the back of the room while all those announcements were made or all those trailers were re-revealed. But great time at D23, and I'll give a shout out to our friends Corey and Aubrey, who were my con buddies throughout the weekend, and we had a grand time exploring D23. But great to be back. So excited for Andor next week. Cannot believe we're actually less than a week away. I feel like we've been talking about that show for literally 3 years. So we could actually 4 years. It was announced in 2018.
Yeah.
It's been a long time coming. But Andor is finally here. I cannot wait to talk about it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Can't wait to do all this again in 6 days' time.
At Dominic J25 is where you can follow Dominic on social media. Ben, thank you so much for hosting as well.
Oh, this is a pleasure as always, and I got a lot of stuff to talk about and watch over the next, because I somehow have to watch 3 episodes of Andor and prepare for it prepare for an episode in the same day. Not used to doing that.
I'm not sleeping that night. I just have already decided, I'm ready. I'm gonna be very, very loopy. It's gonna be fun. Like, hi guys.
That's gonna be
so excited. This episode was great.
Andor. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. I'm looking forward to that. And you know what? I'm gonna give a special shout out to my other podcast, IPC. I haven't done that in a while. It still exists, still happening. We're not on necessarily a set schedule. We're not on YouTube anymore, but we're still doing the episodes. And we got a new episode coming out very, very soon as soon as I get it edited, where we talk about some of the D23 stuff, because we did it right in the middle of D23 and some of the stuff hadn't come out yet, so it's already outdated, but whatever. And a special shout out to my co-host Zach Arnold, who's getting married this weekend.
That's right.
Yes. Way to go, Zach. There we go.
Congratulations.
That was
I'm like waiting for some type of hooray, but I'm like, no, we don't have that sound effect. Sorry. I'll add it later.
Sorry, I left my party poppers somewhere else. Actually.
There we go.
Oh, Grogu!
Yeah,
Grogu's falling off.
You just murdered Grogu.
He's fine. He's fine.
Oh, so it's like Obi-Wan Kenobi where the lightsaber just bounces off now. Got it. At Ben Hart with no E's, where you can follow Ben on social media. And Hannah, thank you as well so much for hosting tonight.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me here. Yeah, like Andor, man. I'm so excited. I've got butterflies in my stomach. Woo! 6 days. 6 days. And yeah, shout out to the Raeside. I've got a bunch of shows the next couple days. I got one on Saturday night. We are doing a live Rogue One rewatch. Then we've got one on Monday. We're making Cassian cookies and with guests. And we have a pre-premiere countdown for 2 hours. So 2 hours before the episode drops at 12 a.m. PST. I'm going to be going live for 2 hours with trivia and games and interviews, and so much is happening. It's going to be so exciting. So make sure you subscribe over there, the Raeside, for all that live show Star Warsy goodness for the excitement of Andor. Yeah.
Awesome. So check out the Raeside on YouTube, and you can follow Hannah at the Raeside on social media. For those listening, that's RAE side, the Raeside on social media. And you can follow me at Seek3PO, SEEK3PO on social media. Make sure we want to give a huge shout out to everybody who super chatted with us tonight, especially Joel, who came in with a lot of good ones. And of course, you can become a channel member as well to support us on YouTube. And make sure you check out patreon.com/theswu for those bonus pre-shows and exclusive merch. You can send us emails at swunderworld@gmail.com. And if you're listening on a podcast app, please leave us a review. That would be freaking awesome. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, many more podcatchers out there. And if there's a new one we're not aware of that we're not on, email us at swunderworld@gmail.com and say, hey, you guys are slipping. There's this really cool new, iPod app thing and iPodcast. Like, join it.
iPod?
Oh, wait a minute. That's already
iPod?
What decade are you in?
I thought I was coming up with a fancy new name, and then I realized that it's just a name. I'm like Lucas.
Email in if
Jedi.
you're still listening to this show on an iPod.
Yeah. If you're still listening on an iPod, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and let us know that you're listening from your iPod, and maybe it'll say sent from my iPod and on the email. That would be kind of funny. Is that a thing?
Sure.
Was that ever a thing? I don't know.
Man.
Anyway, and make sure you join our Discord. Bug Ben on social media at Ben Hart with no E for the link to our Discord.
To post another link.
Yeah, he'll post another link so you can join our growing community over there. We have dozens of you over there already. It's really fun. Lots of stuff going on over on the Star Wars Untold Network Discord. All right, that's it. We're out of here. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back, remember, on Wednesday, not Thursday, next week for Dom and Ben and Hannah. My name is Chris, and may the Force be with you.
It's a wrap.
I never got to use this. I wanted to use this so bad, and I never got to use this.
Oh, that's so good.
Save it for next week.
I want to leave
Save it for next week.
Oh, so
Squadron
good.
squandered. Oh boy. Well done. Well done.
That's my encore.